to Crystal Clear Moments, where we explore the beauty and depth of crystal clear moments in life. I'm your host, Crystal Blackwell, and I invite you to join me on a journey of reflection and self-discovery. So today, together, we're going to explore the wisdom gained in unexpected turns and find some inspiration from our guest today. Her name is Christine Hotchkiss, right? Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
I thank you. So before I give you a bio of Christine, I want to tell you that we've connected, gracefully in our community. We're both part of the same community, and both of us are entrepreneurs, and we have special interests, and we've been involved, and we've been together in women leadership areas and different groups. So we've never sat down and talked. So let's pretend like we have a cup of coffee. I probably should have got some coffee or tea or something. We have water.
We'll stick with the water.
We'll do the water. And let's just get to know each other, because you have a fascinating story that I know that the Crystal Clear Moments podcast community would love to hear and learn about. And I want to learn more about you. I mean, you're just interesting. So let me give you some bio before we get going into her Crystal Clear Moments. Christine is a podcast host herself, so she's part of the podcast community, which I love. She's part of the family. It's called Stories of Hope, Arizona. She's also a volunteer. She's active in the theater space for Chandler International Film Festival and the White Mountain Sholo Film Festival. She's a board member of Chandler Business Alliance, which is great. She's also talks about why she founded her podcast, and share some stories about that. But she founded Stories of Hope AZ because of her personal life journey and the tragedy of her daughter. And I'm sure she'll tell us a little bit about how that tragedy of her daughter, New Year's Day of 2007, the passing of her 17-year-old daughter, how it fueled and I think changed the trajectory of your life, and you'll talk about that and where you are today and some of the things you're going to be looking forward. So thank you for accepting to be a guest on Crystal Clear Moments. You're like the ideal guest because you have just so many moments to share, and you really love sharing your moments because they've defined you. Mm-hmm. They really sort of define who you are. So I'm going to just jump right in and ask, a question that I typically ask everyone. But this is going to be a little different because you're a podcaster. So share with me, what crystal clear moment that you got from a guest who was on your podcast.
One guest. Yes. Oh, you're just as bad as my producer. She's like, you only have 4 that you can recap in a year's time. I'm like, oh, what? Out of 90 something, I got to do what?
You got to do one.
You know what?
You can do a couple.
Actually, I can bring it as a summary because every individual that I have sat down with and heard their stories and their journeys of their lives, that they've had their aha moments or their life-changing moments, is that we all have that same thing that happens to us.
Yeah, we do.
And whether it's tragic like mine or someone going through illness or someone going through an unforeseen circumstance, there's always that, what do I do now? And then get up and live, as one of my guests, Chuck Keels, had said. He's like, get up and live.
Get up and live.
Get up and live. And so it's like, how do you get up and live?
Right. And that alone, get up and live, is a call to action.
Oh, huge.
That I think that oftentimes crystal clear moments can be a call to action. And they could be small, and they could be completely life-changing crystal clear moments. And I know you birthed your podcast based on your daughter. Do you mind sharing that story for our podcast community?
So as we are coming upon, and I know this is going to air in 2024,
right.
But because we're in the current moment, I'm going to speak of the current moment, because that's one of the things we don't do is live in the current moment, right?
Right.
So in my current moment, as we are sitting here, New Year's Day 2007 changed my life and my family at that time. And 2024, New Year's Day, will be 17 years that Nicole will be gone. And Nicole was 17, excuse me. And that is what they call the equal year. And the equal year, I didn't even know it existed until now. I've gone through the other different phases and parts of the journey.
Do you mind explaining what the equal year means for those?
The same amount of years that age was that you were gone.
Yeah.
I always said, and it was on my podcast recently, that my producer sat down. She's like, did I say that correctly? And I'm like, what? And so it caught me off guard. And she said, there comes a point in your life, because we all pass away. You and I already talked about that, right? Yeah. We're all going to pass away. It's not a matter of how. It's a matter of when. Right?
Yes.
And for me, it was, I'm going to know my daughter less than the time that she's going to be gone. We're so quick about, what are we going to do tomorrow? What are we going to do next year? What are we going to do? What are we doing right now? What are we truly doing right now that's making a difference, finding our ahas, making, our mark, our legacy in this world? And that's where my Stories of Hope is my legacy. And I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
It was one of those, what do I do now? My life has definitely, it changed in so many ways. But where I'm at right now in the healing journey, that I chose to say, I can't sit in that anymore. And so many people look up to me, as they do to you, for whatever you're an expert in, or what we do in our communities, or whoever's listening to this, what they're doing. It's, what are you doing now, and how are you making a difference, truly making a difference? And are you actually showing up as you say you are?
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, and I think that's becoming more of this enlightening that we're having, which I find it being worldwide, of people craving authenticity.
Oh gosh, yes.
It's a crave that, and people who have always been that way, they were labeled. You're too bold. You're keeping it real. This person lives out loud. Whatever. All of these almost could be negative terms to be authentic. And now everyone wants everyone to be authentic. It's the thing, but I think that's the journey of how humankind, we want that. So for you, I'm hearing your crystal clear moment currently is to be in the present.
It is, and I'll say, even though New Year's Day is coming up, those days that we lose our loved ones, it's never going to seem like it was those many years past. It's always going to feel like in that moment. Like right now, I could go through in my mind every detail that led up to that very moment that changed. Yeah. And if anyone's curious, which we're always curious, and I always try to stay away from that until I've told the story, because people like to say, how'd they die? You hear when someone dies, how'd they die? And I'm thinking, wait a minute, how'd they live? Let me deal with how they lived versus how they died, because I myself, or whomever else is losing a loved one, is going to always remember that.
Right.
We'd rather hear the joy of that person. That's what we're doing here, right?
Right.
Making memories.
Yes.
And what do they stop when we find out how we passed away?
Yeah.
So with that being said, my family and I were in a rollover auto accident in California at the sand dunes, and my daughter was ejected from our vehicle. I did have to find her in the darkness, no cell service, and other things I'll keep out of this particular moment. But my daughter did pass away there. With me, and then I want to say was brought back to life for them to be able to tell me that she no longer was here. But you know what? When you have an intuition and you know what you know, your heart will always be the truth.
I hate to interrupt.
It kept falling down.
You got to make sure it's real.
That's why we kept doing that. But it kept squeaking.
Okay. I needed to stay in my moment. My question here.
If it goes down again, let me know.
Yeah, I kept doing that. Thank you.
Good.
All right.
Are we good to start?
Okay.
We're good. So first, I want to say thank you for feeling safe enough to share that. I wasn't going to ask because, I'll be honest, it really wasn't important. What was important to me is how you are honoring her. And I've always loved that, how you've always showed up. Even in passing, I knew a little bit about the story. I knew she was young, teenager. I knew she was your daughter. And when you spoke about her, you lit up.
Oh, always.
You know what I mean? Like
I got to be a mom because of her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how just didn't really, but like I said,
People still ask.
I bet you, and I can see that this curiosity human being, but I guess I didn't because you were just I just saw her in the light. So, but thank you again for trusting this space to share that for people who are just curious. Some of us are just super curious about
But
it,
I will tell you with that, first, yes, you did provide a safe space because that's what we all want, a safe space, whatever it is. But the other part is we also want to be able to tell so that people will understand why we are the way we are. So that's why I did that too. It wasn't to bring everybody down because we know death brings people down.
Yeah.
And then when you hear about it being a child and you're like, you said it best. I don't bring that out.
No, you don't.
I don't, but I honor her the way that I do with other things that I've done in the community, like put a tree up at the Phoenix Children's Hospital. Her and I volunteered there. So I found ways to help myself on this journey, remember her, and my own healing.
Yeah.
We're always going through a healing process, right?
It is, yes. We were talking about the healing process, and I'm all about healing. I think there's always some healing going on.
Always.
You know, because once you get rid of one thing, and people go deep with healing, they think, oh, you had some major, no, trauma's trauma. It's just no measure. It's yours, right? It could be whatever it is. Or healing could just be, you know, maybe you had, you thought a way that wasn't good for you. You had some negative, bad thinking, or whatever happened to, whatever you want to heal from. Let's just say all of it from A to Z. It's your heal story, right? It's your journey. I think there's always something to work on or to heal from to just become a better person.
Always.
You know, it's always something like, I want to be better than my past best.
Oh, gosh, yes.
You know, you want to be better than your past best. And the way you do that, oftentimes you got to heal some of that stuff. And then once you heal it, you realize how you got there, why, and then now you can rebuild.
Well, there's something else that goes with that. We all don't have the answers to every single thing that happens in our life. So if we're that person that had been vulnerable in a safe space and place, then we can help someone else on a journey that didn't know that there was that feeling that you can be comfortable with. When I lost my daughter, I had never met anyone who lost a child. So I went through a lot of different roles, a lot of different things that I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew was that I had to get up every day. I had to try and figure out how to continue to function. And my son at that time had just turned 11. So his birthday's December 30th. Our accident happened the 31st, and she passed away on New Year's Day. Every year for the last 16 years, my calendar starts and will always end till I die different than most. I have 2 celebrations, right? The celebration of my child that's here and the celebration that my child was here.
Yes.
So I start out differently.
So how did you get there? Like, does that, you know what I mean? Because I know you're here today, but you know, I never think that conversations or this setting, this podcast there's people out there that are probably in your space or who, how about this, want to be where you are and they don't know how.
They don't know how to navigate to it.
Are you okay with like walking us through that? How did you get there?
You lose a lot of people in your life when and you know this even if you've not lost a loved one, when you're negative, you don't realize you're negative. And then you start losing people because they don't want to be around that atmosphere. But I wasn't healthy in my mind. I wasn't achieving things that I thought I wanted to do prior to that. And I have a very strong faith, very strong faith. There are people that are non-believers, but they believe in something, right?
They do, you're right.
So they can say they don't believe, but they believe in something.
Something.
Right.
Yes.
You don't have to identify it as God or Buddha or whatever you want to. You believe in something because when you're in your worst moment, you're like, I need help. Whether you go to someone else and think that they're going to be the expert to get you out of it, or you're going to have your faith that says, I trust you.
Love it. Were there any things that any moments that you had that you go, okay, Crystal, I remember this happened and this changed me, or this helped me to take the next step, or maybe you took a step back?
So this is funny because this is the truth. So we all want to run away from our stuff, do we not? We're like, I'm just going to go somewhere else. Well, I physically thought I was going to do that. So when my son moved away and I was like, I don't have to take care of my son anymore, what am I going to do? My son was of age to live his own life and chase his own dreams, as I told him, and he's doing very well.
Good.
But then where was I? I'm no longer the mom that's needed. We'll always be moms, but not the same role and not the same capacity. And I've never told my children that they couldn't do something. And I would never tell them that their decisions are going to be something I'm going to be disappointed in because it's not my choice. I'm living my life. All I can do is just do the best I can and want them to be the best that they are too. So I would never tell them, oh, you don't like that? Well, you shouldn't. Or you don't love this person? Well, I don't love this person. No, let me live my life and I'm going to be there for you.
Right.
But what happened was when my son moved away, I was like, okay, I'm going to start all over. So at the time I had an F-250 and an 8x10 trailer, whatever could fit into it, having lived in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. That's all I took with me. and I moved up to Cornville. There ain't no corn there, by the way. Cornville, Arizona.
Cornville.
A very dear friend of mine I've known for a very long time was on his third. He just came back from his third tour in Iraq, and he was not in a good shape. And I, at the time, was actually watching someone's house. She and her husband, newlyweds. And so I went up there with a bag and said, I'm going to see what else there is. And then I got hired at a job fair, just being nosy, got hired at a job fair. And they're like, oh, can you start? And I'm like, what did I just do? And I'm like, you know what? My faith said it's time for you to move on.
Yes.
And I didn't want to be where I thought pain was, which was here in the valley. So I got a phone call from my other friend that I just told you about who had a ranch with horses and in little Charlotte's Web setting. I've always been a big city girl. And I was
You're
like,
a city girl.
I'm a city girl, but I got my
girl.
boots, my hats, and I can do whatever now. So he happened to call me. He's like, I know you go up to Cottonwood and you see your friends. Would you happen to be in town? I was like, I am. He's like, I'll make dinner. Come on over. So we talked a little bit, and he's like, I said, I got a job. He's like, and I don't know what to do. I'm really having a hard time. I was like, all right, what do you need? So you can live here. And I was like, huh? So I came back to the valley, loaded up my F-250 and little 8x10 trailer with whatever I had, took stuff to Goodwill, donated stuff to shelters, put stuff on the street, watched people rummage through our things. And I said, all right. And I drove away, and I moved up to Cornville, rented a one-bedroom, one of the bedrooms in his home, took care of his property, and I worked in Sedona. I was up there for almost 3 years. And then one night, I say night, I don't know what time it was. I know it was dark. Where I lived in Cornville, it was in the middle of nowhere. And I heard this voice, and I say this funny. I heard this voice, and I wasn't drinking that night. So,
I get that. I get that. I heard this voice. I want you to know that. I understand that.
And I said, I don't know who that is, but I don't know what to do. And that voice said, you're going to share your story, and you're going to have other people share theirs too. And I was like, I have no idea what that means. Well, then I was given an opportunity to come back to the valley, and that heaviness was still on me and not knowing what to do with it. And then a common friend of yours and mine, who is now Councilwoman Christine Ellis.
She, you know what?
Amazing.
Funny. She was a podcast guest.
I know. I was on her show, and it was one of the things that brought me back here
Right,
because I shared my story. So we got to know each other. I got familiar with the Chandler area. And that was where it began. And I sat on a street curb of a rental house that I was renting from another common friend of ours. And I barely knew these people. I didn't know nobody in Chandler because I started over again, but back in the valley. And I called up Christine. I'm sitting on this curb. It's called Bull Moose, and I found out what Bull Moose meant.
I know exactly the street Bull Moose. That is so crazy because that is like, I think I actually know what it is.
If you look it up, you'll understand. There's a meaning behind everything. I'm sure you already know that.
I don't know if I know the meaning. I just know what a bull moose is.
Oh, yeah. So I said, Christine, I got this thing, and I know you're strong in your faith, stronger than any woman I'd ever met.
That's true.
Right?
Yes.
And I told her, she's like, you got to go with it. I go with what? And then I started on my cell phone, starting to go back to people that I knew along the way that are friends, and said, would you be interested in entertaining me by sharing your story? Like, I would love to. So people actually do want to share their stories. So when people say how someone, something happened to someone, we really do want to share it. It's like a relief of ours. It's another part of our healing. So that is how I started my journey of my healing, is sharing my story, not thinking anyone would care, but thus also learning, how do you share your story so it's not so heavy? Not every story everyone wants to hear. Right. That's why there's so many different podcasts and so many different things that we can go in as a resource. And that's how my healing journey started. And I worked in Sedona, which, as anyone knows, Sedona is one of the healing.
It's like healing capital of the world. I go there to reset.
Yes.
It's my reset.
So when I worked in Sedona, the airport overlooked the entire city of Sedona. And I would sit up there every day before I went to work and just take it all in, because it's such a beautiful place. But that's where I did my understanding of what we would call meditating.
Yeah, right. Which is as old as life itself. Meditation is not. I know it could feel new for some people, but the act of meditating has been around since humankind, since existence, since we were air is in our human bodies.
Our journeys of our lives, we don't know what those things are. Like, we could know the same people, but not know the same people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or people like, oh, you know that person? You're like, no. And I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
You know, I thought everybody knew everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not true. It depends on where we're at in our journeys of our lives, whatever the journey is.
Whatever that is. And it's constantly changing. And if we pay attention, which is that another way of saying being present,
Yes.
then our crystal clear moments are all over the place.
They are.
You know, everyone is looking for that big aha moment. Well, I find the little ones to be the most powerful ones. Very similar story for me. And with my podcast, it was a simple conversation. You need to have a space for people to share their moments. And, first I was not being obedient. I was like, I don't want to do this. I had all these excuses, and the voice kept getting louder. And then I got a little tap, and I didn't get a physical tap, people. Okay. But, there was
You
a
felt
tap.
it.
I felt it. I knew I was not being obedient, and I had a task. Now, I still don't know where this is going, but I'm obedient, and I love it. I love talking to people and sharing you with others, because I think that there's a lot of us, and me included, that, can learn from when life happens.
Mm-hmm. And it does.
It does. And what we can do so that we're prepared when it happens again, because it will. It may not show up the way it did, but pain is pain, grief is grief, sorrow is sorrow, happiness is happiness, joy is joy. Like, all those feelings are the same. It may come at you differently, and it may be a different reason, but once you understand that, when it happens again, it's almost like you got the girth to deal with it. It's like it's going to still feel it, but you have the tools now
It doesn't
to
hurt so
walk
much.
through it in a healthy way. Absolutely. And absolutely. So what would you say is the one tool that you learned that has changed Christine's approach to just dealing with life happenings?
Truthfully?
Truthful. Oh, yeah. We're all about truth, girl.
Stopping and paying attention in the moment, not necessarily everything around you,
Right.
but you. Where are you? You just talked about all the different emotions, and we go through emotions. One day we're happy, one day we're sad, one day we're mad, and we're like, why are we going through all these emotions? I'm still trying to figure that out. That'll be another podcast when I figure it out.
Right. And it's
Einstein.
not menopause, and it's not hormones, and it's not this. It's all of us, because, I don't want people to think it's, a girl thing. But emotions are, everyone has them.
We
Yes.
really have to sit in ourself. We really do. And a lot of people escape. I just gave you a physical escape, but I didn't escape anything. I took the same stuff with me, just went to a different location. And we're all guilty of that.
How do you sit with yourself?
I didn't know what meditating was, so I would have to say you just have to stop. And a lot of people like to keep running. If I'm busy, then I don't have to deal with what's going on in my life. How many people do you know that are so busy?
Gosh, yes, that was... Yeah, I'm not, even when I hear that word, I almost want to...
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either. It's really interesting, because last year this time, I was at a networking event, and me and another board member were talking about the word busy. And we were challenging ourselves. Her name is Sally, so I'm going to have Sally listen to this podcast. We were challenging ourselves to change that word.
Yes.
Not say, I'm so busy.
Right.
And we were just kind of going back and forth. I'm so, active, or I'm so, thinking of, we're just thinking of kind of brainstorming. But to your point, when I hear people say, I'm so busy, and I even say it, and when I say it, I cringe, that doesn't feel good or even sound good.
Sounds actually kind of negative.
Yeah, it does.
It's like, what are you running from?
Right.
Because we know people that are busy, they're running because they
Yes.
have other things they don't want to deal with. And I actually had a very dear friend of mine say, I know you're busy. And I said, stop.
I hate that.
I said, give me the opportunity to see how I can work it in. Don't say I'm too busy, because you think
don't
what
know.
you see, whether it's social media or whatever, which social media is always heightens more than what it really is. And I said, allow me to be able to make a decision on how busy you think
Don't
I
label
am.
me. Right.
No,
Yeah, don't
no.
put me in a box. Yeah. I got a text from someone who said, call me when you get a chance.
I like that.
And I was like, okay, call me when you get a chance. I liked it, but then I thought about it again. That's kind of saying you're busy too.
Okay.
So it's like, just call me. And then, or let's schedule some time, but call me when you get a chance says that you're assuming that I'm too busy.
I didn't take it that way. I just figured, I figured,
good.
you know what? It's no rush.
Okay.
Instead of having to use, hey, it's no rush. It's like,
Right.
hey, when you get the time,
Okay,
give
I
me
get
a
that.
chance.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it. I took it from when I get a chance, like I don't have time for you. And it's like, I do. Just, you can call me.
And that's what they were doing. They were giving you the ability
chance.
to find when you had the time.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I'm glad I brought it up because
That's my perspective. I'm not saying that's true, but
yeah, but that's a good perspective to look into because again, I wasn't in a box with it. For me right away it was like, well, just call me because I could have the chance now or I just like from people if you need someone just do.
I'll help you with that one.
Reach out. Yeah.
How many times will you call someone, really want to talk to them, and they say, hey, can I call you back? Mm-hmm. And you go, oh.
Well, I'm okay with that because
I feel rude if I say, can I call you back?
Yeah, because I'm okay with that because at least we've touched base.
Okay.
And I think too, that gives you a chance to say, this is real important. Don't forget. Okay, my call you back can't be a week because sometimes it turns into, right? Hey, don't forget to call me back. This is real important.
Right.
But I think this is just perspective.
It
really is. And where you're at and where you're not at. And then people knowing you as an individual. Because I know when I call someone and they say to me, call you back, if it's something like I need to talk to you, I will say, I need to talk to you. This is like emergency. And they know, or like, this is super important. They know that because I never say that. If I said it, just out of pure nosiness. Girls are nosy, not all, but out of pure like, what does she want to talk about?
Right.
I mean, I'm not random with that
Sure.
at all. So again, it could be, but I like that perspective. I'm going to sit with that next time I get a call me when you get a chance.
Well, it's either this, and this has happened too. I'm sure you've already got that, where you get that phone call that you don't usually get and you go, what's wrong?
Yeah.
So that's why I say, well, if there's that little bit of space that allows someone to say, when you get a moment,
chance, yeah, it could be
I don't want to worry you.
It could be 2 months. Girl, I didn't get a moment for a long time. You sure you can hold out for that? No, I'm kidding. But it is. But at least we're communicating.
Yeah.
But I like the different perspective of things. I think that's how we grow. It gets you out of your lens of what you're viewing things. So good. So back to you, because you're the star of the show. Okay. I want the listeners to understand the middle. So I say that because there's the beginning. I think we all can relate to the beginning, of a recent loss. Mm-hmm. And I think we all can embrace the end. Mm-hmm. But what does the middle look like? Because I feel like the middle is sticky and stinky and messy and
it can be disconnecting too. You can be disconnected or you can actually stay stuck. Mm-hmm. And I was told by someone else in the community that we know, they're like, don't ever say you're stuck, Christine. I was like, okay, I won't say I'm staying here.
So tell me the logic with that. I like to hear, because sometimes you're just stuck. Stuck isn't a bad thing. So talk to me about that.
I had to figure that one out myself.
You know what I mean? It gets stuck.
That actually pushed me more into where my podcast is, where it's at.
Right.
Because it was like, why are you saying you're stuck? You're doing this. Yeah. Just keep moving one step at a time. Don't jump and hurdle. You really do. I hated this phrase, Crystal. Mm-hmm. Baby steps.
I was like, you were gonna say I
got your baby steps.
I knew you was going to say that. Yeah.
That was not something that I ever was good with, but makes sense.
But see, you were a giant step girl, but then you were forced to make.
I've been forced in a lot of things.
Big baby steps.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, because this year is coming to an end, and I've gone through so much this year because I chose that on day one of this year of 2023. I was like, I'm not going to keep bringing what I keep bringing every year unless it's good, unless it's going to benefit everyone around me, or I can be that benefit to them as you are with your show and what you do in the community. And today alone, I was faced with something. I was like, all right, I'm going to let the universe, God, I said I wanted to take all of this and be finished by 2024 when it starts with a whole new thing. Well, I got that. Careful what you put out there.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's truth. Yes.
But I also welcomed it. So I knew the sun was around the corner. I just didn't know it was today. But it was going to happen. And I faced something from part of this healing journey of my daughter's passing away. I will always be her mama. I will always have the memories of everything. You know, I don't even think of the bad things. I think of all the fun things. And I faced it today, and I was like, oh my God, I think I just like took 20 pounds off my shoulders. I didn't know I had 20 pounds to take off of.
Isn't that funny when you don't know it and it happens and you feel light and you go, I was carrying this around forever.
I'm gonna be honest again.
Yes.
After that took place, I sat in a parking lot just processing it all for 30 minutes because I really had that. I didn't realize I had to deal with that. And now I'm like, all right, I'm going to ask whatever's left. I got this, you know, because 2024 is going to be something completely different for what I want.
Someone spoke this to me, someone who I know I respect, and it's 2024, prepare for more.
Ooh.
I know. That's how it got me. She said that to me, and I felt that. And I felt that, and not more, give me more money.
Right.
I'm not even that person. I mean, of course, everybody wants money. It gives you opportunity, allows you movement, of course. But I saw it in such a different way. So I've received it. I share that with you and with others. The 2020 more, prepare more. But you know what I want to do, and we haven't, and this is my poke right now I'm feeling.
Okay.
I want you to say your daughter's name because we haven't, and I want to honor that.
It's going to make me cry. Because people don't ask. They just go, oh, you lost your loved one. And I'm always saying, stop and tell me who that person is. Yeah. My daughter's full name, and will always be, even though she's not here, is Nicole Marie Brown. She was 17, and she was a senior at Centennial High School in Peoria. And she was so outgoing. She was the kid I wanted to be.
I love that. I know what you mean by that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, in every way.
Yeah.
But
You're like, if I was someone, I want to be you. Yeah, I get it.
But I got something better. I got to be her mom and live twice through it.
That's very good.
Right.
So my middle name is Marie, too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know, right? I didn't know. Yeah. So I don't know. I was feeling like I wanted to honor Nicole. Yeah, and give her a name.
Thank you.
So that people can know that that she still lives. And I honor you for taking time out and coming in here and speaking about her and sharing your crystal clear moments with us. You'll be back because there's more. But today was really about honoring her and her story and you and how you're living, her best gifts now. Because you're living the best of Nicole is now.
I didn't know I was going to be doing what I'm doing.
I know.
No clue.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be a designer and fashion and no, I'm not doing any of that. I just do fashion.
You can still be cute, girl. Now you can still be cute.
I do, but I don't do it for a profession.
Fashion. You can still, we can always be cute and fashionable, but
we're making a difference in people's lives that allow other people to say, you know what, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
It's funny you said that's on my vision board from last year. Oh. Well, 2023. I'm a vision board girl.
I got one too.
And it's on there. It's okay not to be okay. And I get that. Yeah, definitely.
Not a lot of people embrace that until like the last, I don't like to bring up the 2020 thing, but that's when everything I think got a reset on people's lives, whatever it was.
They were open to it.
And that's where it's like, it's okay to not be okay.
It's okay. It's okay to tell people that not a good day, or it's a great day, or I'm having I'm looking forward, and I'm in process for that great day. I'm in motion. I'm taking baby steps. I know, baby steps. And I say that too because sometimes it is about baby steps to get you to the big girl steps.
But here's a little thing on that. When you think of a baby walking, do you think it's like a smooth little, no, they're falling. I watched a baby the other day for Christmas. I was over to my son and daughter-in-law's best friend's house, and they have a little less than 2-year-old. Oh. And watching her walk, I'm like, she keeps falling. And I'm like, this is not the real phrase of baby steps. And I'm thinking, yes, it is. It is not a smooth step, one foot in front of the other, a tiny one. It's like you're going to fall, and you got to get back up.
You got it.
And that's what baby steps is, falling and get back up.
Wear your knee pads. So
sometimes your helmet too.
Yeah, bring your protection. But that's what growth is, and it's a blessing to be whole enough to understand that.
Yeah,
because that's a process too. So again, thank you. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful 2024 and where it's going to take you. And
back at you.
Thank you. I completely receive that 2024, prepare for more. I've been saying that to people because when she said that, I was like, oh, I really like that.
And because we're in the same community, and now we've actually got to sit down and not just have pictures taken and say, I was at this event and saw this person. I really enjoyed being able to have this time with you. Without the coffee, we had water.
I know. Next time we'll get some tea from the cute little tea shop across the way here, and then we'll talk more because I really love to hear more about what you're doing. Christine does a lot in the community, and she's really just have a service heart and of others and women.
We need to empower one another.
Yeah, we do.
Not like the financial empowerment. The emotional empowerment. Right. I'm actually going to be, if I could say this.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sure.
I'll be putting probably the first mine, retreat together for women.
Okay.
The healing part, not the professional part. It's easy to say, here's my business cards, what I do. Go,
right.
No, put that away. Who are you?
Yes.
And that's what I'm going to be planning for 2024.
I like that. Right. Take that mask off, be authentic, and find out who you are. Because you got to know yourself before you live your purpose fully. Which means you got to do a little digging and cleaning and get some Neosporin out. And
facing it.
And healing and doing that. But that's okay because, we got to get prepared because life will be lifing no matter what. But it's really a wonderful journey once you kind of get that and you embrace it. Good. Thank you. So thank you, everyone, for, tuning in to the Crystal Clear Moments podcast and really chit-chatting here with me and with Christine and embracing this. I have a couple things to ask of you. Some of my podcasters, please go on, rate me a 5 and leave a review. Please leave a review and share this with others if you find value. And reach out at crystalblackwell.com and give me some questions and share some ideas because this is our podcast. It's not just mine. It's the community of the Crystal Clear Moments. And I want you to feel part of it. So thanks a lot. And thanks again. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.